everyone. Welcome to our weekly episode of Friday FAQS. I'm Jennifer Dorn.
I'm Jeremiah Dorn.
And I'm Malcolm Thomas.
And we'd like to introduce Markita Woods, affectionately known as our Queen of Mortgage. And we are bringing her back for our continuing segment on Fire Your Landlord, buying a home, renting versus owning. And why is that a great thing for you as a potential buyer?
So, Markita, what is the VHDA program? Can you give me a little insight on that?
Absolutely. So VHDA is the Virginia Housing Development Authority. And basically it allows first-time buyers to purchase a home with no money down or very little money down. And we know we live in a high-cost area, so outside of credit, one of the biggest things from stopping people from buying a home versus renting is the down payment. So VHDA has a grant. It's pretty awesome. You can use it with an FHA or a conventional loan, and you actually only have to have 1% when you're using the grant. Now that does have some income restrictions. For two or less, it's $100,500, which is still a pretty high number
For two people.
That's pretty good for two people or less.
Yeah.
So if you were single and make $100,000 and you wanted to access the grant, you could do it. But for a family of three or more, it's actually $117,300. So still, more money to go out and buy if that's stopping you. And then they also have a program where if you make too much money for the grant, then you can finance the down payment. So that's actually truly a no money down.
Wow.
And that's up to $125,000. I believe $700. Don't quote me on that. Just say $125,000.
Wow.
And up to a sales price of $500,000. So it really is no reason to rent if you can buy. Because in that scenario, if you use either one of those programs, basically that's less than first month's rent and security deposit in this area, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I was working with a young lady and looking to purchase, and let's just say the rent price point where they were was like $2,000 a month, and I'm thinking $24,000 a year that you will not get back.
Yeah.
So again, with programs like this available, it's a no-brainer.
It's interesting you mentioned the $24,000. I just recorded a short video that we're going to put out that actually did a comparison for someone that was paying $2,000 a month in rent and what they could actually do as a mortgage. And at the end of the day, it looked like $24,000 out, but after a 5-year period, $22,000 in, based on just paying their mortgage. That's not any appreciation or anything like that. Monthly payment was about $2,200, which, hey, if you're paying $2,000 in rent, you can definitely afford $2,200. Hey, just cut the Starbucks, make a little couple of tweaks here or there.
Exactly.
So I'm going to be sending that video out. We can also run rent versus buy scenarios for anybody's payment range to kind of give them an idea of what that actually will look like since we're in this high cost area.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, along with the VHDA program, there's this thing called the Mortgage Credit Certificate, which is such a big deal for buyers that is attached to this program. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Yes, absolutely. So it's called the Mortgage Credit Certificate. It's ironically, a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
they don't really even know that it's something that they actually can use as a first-time buyer when buying a home. So we are using that with VHDA. There was a little misinformation that when the tax laws changed, that this actually was dropped, and it was part of the initial bill, but it made it. So so it did. So it is still in effect, and basically it is a tax deduction. Based on you purchasing a home, and it is a dollar for dollar deduction. It's not a tax credit. So that's, it is a credit, versus it being an actual deduction. So what happens is you get to lower how much money you owe to the IRS based on having the certificate, and you can use it for every year that you actually own the property. So that's pretty good. It's also, if we're going to lower someone's tax deduction or amount they owe the IRS via this credit, it basically puts more money back in your pocket.
Goes back to that scenario, that
just,
$2,200.
The $2,200 just puts more money in your pocket every year. So I say you can buy a home and actually give yourself a raise, because it is a tax credit that will lower your tax
Good stuff.
deduction, the amount that you actually owe Uncle Sam,
Yeah.
which is a huge deal.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's major. Now, there's a caveat to when you can actually be issued this thing. It has to be at the settlement table, right? Is it retroactive after settlement? Let's say I purchased a home using a VHD loan, and a month later I find out about this MCC mortgage credit certificate. Can I then apply for an MCC or try to
Good question.
obtain it, or does
You
it
know,
have
that's a great question that I'll have to get the answer to. We are proactive in putting the MCC up during the loan process. So there's actually a disclosure with the VHDA loan that asks, hey, do you want the MCC? We automatically check yes
So
for
before
the
we get to
buyers
that point-
before we even
before
get
we get to that point, it's
you know,
taken care
after
of.
the fact
Yeah.
and close it,
Good.
because I don't think you can do it retroactive, but I'm not 100% sure
I
about
think
that.
we-
So it
yeah.
just makes sense to go ahead and check the box, and it is a disclosure,
Yeah.
just to let first-time home buyers that don't really even know what it is, still put it out there as just an added benefit.
So major key people, sorry.
Yeah, good.
Make sure you work with a
You took
lender
the words out of my
that
mouth.
knows about the mortgage credit certificate,
Exactly.
because
And
there
a
are lenders out
realtor.
here that don't think it's available, and that could be the difference of how much you can get back at the end of the year when you do your taxes.
Or even
Exactly, or
monthly
used in income.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And make sure you're working with, one of us, the Agent for the People
Exactly.
team.
Who's bringing you this
And,
information?
that's right. And works with an agent who's a lender who is very knowledgeable of that. So
I'm just
that's right. Queen of Mortgage. Just
There you
get
go.
that name just because.
Now, Markita, I know you mentioned paying Uncle Sam back. So a lot of people are graduating from college and they have tons of student debt and student debt. So how does that affect me buying a home?
Wow, that's an excellent question. I have coined student loan debt as the new debt of the century.
Yes, it is.
You know, some of us are actually going to die with the debt. So we need to figure out
That's
how
a
to
scary
still
thought.
buy and
Not
move
me.
forward.
Not me.
I mean, you know what? It is what it is,
Yeah.
right? So there are ways to still qualify. Each loan program has a different way that they calculate the loan. But here recently for conventional loans, we are able to use the income-based repayment plan, which is awesome because that means it's probably significantly lower
Okay.
than what the payment would be if we were to calculate it or amortize it over the full period of time. So
Absolutely.
conventional loans, we can use the income-based repayment plan in our calculations. So don't let student loan debt keep you on the fence. Just work with a lender that knows how to calculate
There
this
you go.
properly to help you move forward.
That's a comment, and a lot of people don't know that, so I'm glad you just told that information.
Yep,
Yes.
key point right there. So so we're talking about buying homes and so forth, interest rates went up not too long ago. And I put a question out on Facebook, probably a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to ask people, what year, just out of curiosity, what year did they buy their first home? And some people purchased back in the 80s and, way back. And then that triggered my thought, well, what was your interest rate? Now, I purchased my first home, I think it was 96. And my interest rate in 96 was 8%. But then we bought a house in 01, and the interest rate on that was 6.75.
Yes.
So what is the interest rate today? Current, I know it fluctuates,
yeah.
but
I mean,
what is it
on average, we're in the fours.
Right.
Okay.
Which we have been spoiled for so long. We had raised rates that were subpar or sub 4. And so now everything starts with the 4 for the most part, unless you're looking at adjustable rate or maybe a 15-year. But on average, a 30-year fix is in the 4s. We're projected to end the year at about 4.9. And what actually happens is it changes the buying power.
Right.
So that is shifted for some buyers that maybe were on the fence. You kind of lost about 25% of your buying power as a result of that. But at the end of the day, rates are what they are. It's
That's
not
right.
like we're pinpointing one segment or one person.
Sure.
It's going to be the same for everybody that decides they want to buy a home at this time. We just got to get used to what I call the new normal and move forward from there and adjust buying power accordingly. As you mentioned, I did a video and I was talking about rates, decade over decade.
Yeah.
Rates were 8%. At some point, they were in the double digits.
Yes.
And people still bought homes because it made sense for their overall financial picture and starting to build a nest egg for their family. If you're going to live there anyway, no matter what the rate is, if it's going to be almost the same amount, why
Yeah.
not start owning versus renting
that
and
appreciation will
getting
outweigh
equity
investment.
over
Exactly.
the long term, you know,
'Cause
leaving
it's
that
still
legacy for the
investment.
family. It's the cornerstone of wealth real estate is. So
Exactly.
rates will rise, they will fluctuate, go down, move all around. People are still gonna buy homes based on their specific scenario.
I said, don't wait, guys. I mean,
No,
seriously.
get off the fence.
Yeah,
and you
because
can
if
get
we-
more if
Absolutely.
you act now versus sitting on the fence.
That's right, because just
I
like
agree.
rates increase, so are values. So,
Exactly.
you know,
And in a micro scale, before we approach spring, get off the fence before you have to deal with all this other competition, because we are in a market where we're dealing with multiple offers and what have you. So to make your offer stronger, get in there before the crowd does, you know.
that's right, take advantage.
So
Go
this
ahead.
is our week's episode of Friday's Facts
Yeah.
with the agents
For the people.
team.
Throw the floors out.
Pour it out.
Throw the floor out. Yeah.
Be sure to
and-
like, comment, and share. We're with the Queen of Mortgages, of course.
That's
Follow
right.
Markita on all social media love handles.
Yes.
Love
I appreciate
handles.
that.
Handles.
We're still in the month of February, it's all
Yeah, we
good.
can do that.
So you want to give them your, how
Follow.
can our audience reach you?
You can reach me at queenofmortgages.com, and you can find me on Facebook at Queen of Mortgages. Also, you can send me a private message at Markita Woods. Love to answer any questions you have about purchasing a home. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
sharing. And stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to continue this segment, so we do appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.